Hi, this is Brian Hagan, Studio Manager at the Entertainment Department.
And this is Brent Gray, Studio Coordinator.
And this is Studio C Diagnostics.
As you can see, we're getting right into things, so have a seat, maybe something to drink, because this diagnostic video is 2.5 hours long.
We're just kidding. Actually, it's about 8 hours and 45 minutes. No, it's very short. The pneumatic part of the video takes about 17 minutes, and the optional lighting selection takes only about 8.
Well, know-it-all, I don't suppose you know what the kind folk out there need to do with this video, do you?
Well, as they probably know, what they need to do is watch through the video and make sure the show looks exactly like what's on their monitors. For example, it takes about half a second for Chucky's foot tap on the video. But if it takes 2 seconds for your Chucky foot tap on the show, then there's something probably wrong with the movement.
And if you're watching the lighting diagnostics and the video shows CEC green floods, but your Chucky red floods light up, then you probably have some of your wiring backwards.
That's right.
Now, we're here to make things a little bit less boring. Not to mention the fact that we'd love the idea of having a captive audience to tell people how important their show is.
The pneumatic portion of the video will cover all of Chucky's moves, the bird, the pizza phone, and the curtains.
And the optional lighting portion will cover all the different lighting functions. Ad-lib.
No, you're not supposed to read that.
But it's right here.
It means you're supposed to, well, ad-lib. Never mind, you get the idea. Well, anyway, it looks like Chucky's moved into the wrist motion here, and one of the things that you might notice is that we've lifted the elbows up on Chucky for the higher moves of his arms. That makes it a little easier for you to see on your show. It's really hard to tell if his wrist is turning if it's beneath the desk.
We should mention that Chucky's hands are designed to have a certain curvature to the fingers, kind of like he's holding a baseball.
Yeah, it kind of looks like both hands, if the fingers are posable, about the first 25 characters that went out there had posable fingers on Chucky, and he should look like he's holding 2 baseballs, one in each hand. That way it keeps the fingers away from the desk and other obstacles in the show. If you have a newer character and his fingers don't bend, then they're properly posed, so you shouldn't have to worry about that.
All right, now what are we going to talk about, Brian?
Well, if he had both of his arms going, he'd be doing the chicken dance. Y'all can tell we're here for your amusement.
I'm sure that they find this hysterical.
Oh, I bet they do. Hey, check out those gears in the monitor. Spinning wheel, got to go round. One thing to notice about the elbow moves on Chucky is you want to make sure that he's not wearing down the arm fur in the elbow joint. As that arm bends up and down, it shouldn't pinch the fur inside. The fur on the inside of the arms are covered by leather, and that's to protect them. And you might want to check that from time to time, make sure that it's not wearing that thin inside, because if it starts running a hole, you get a big gap in his elbow, and it's kind of scary looking.
Brian, we probably ought to mention a lot of the just maintenance things, cleaning things that has to do with Studio C, with the show, with all the different things that you have to do to keep the show looking nice, looking clean, working properly.
Yeah, probably ought to start with Chucky. It's a good thing to basically disassemble him once a week, basically take off the costume, all the fur body parts except for the legs. If you take the fur off for the legs, you're going to spend about 45 minutes trying to figure out how to put it back on. And there's no moving parts down inside, so you don't need to do that. You can take the arm fur off, and you can take obviously the shirt, the vest assembly that comes apart. And once you take that apart, you can remove the back of the body shell, and also the back of his head comes off. Actually, down the seams, his head splits in half, and there's little flaps in the fur. If you feel around the seam where his head's joined together from front to back, and you take there's usually about 8 screws in there you can remove. And once you do that, the back of the head comes off. And I'd advise that you open him up about once a week and you vacuum him out and get all that black fur residue out of there, because he pulls a lot of the dust and fur inside him, and that's probably the worst enemy to the cylinders in the show. If you get him vacuumed out once a week, wipe him down with a soft towel, a clean one, because there's no grease. Chucky doesn't need any lubrication inside him, so don't add any grease to the cylinder shafts like we used to do that for the older shows. We don't need to do that with Studio C. So basically just vacuum them out, dry them off really good. That's the only real inside maintenance, other than checking to make sure that the air hoses are okay, that there's no crushed hoses or kinks or air leaks and things like that once a week. And it probably would take you only about 15 minutes to get them disassembled, about 30 minutes to clean them out, maybe about 15 to put them back together, so maybe an hour max, and it'll prolong the life of the character just enormously. I mean, Chucky's kind of like a brand new car. You know, if you get a brand new car, are you going to change your oil every 3,000 miles? You know, if you don't change your oil every 3,000 miles, your car is going to fall apart or blow up, and the same thing's true for robotics. I mean, it's a machine like anything else, and you need to take them apart and work on them, make sure everything's okay. It's always easier to fix something before it breaks than after it's broken.
Yeah, and I must say, as far as like taking the head off and cleaning and all that kind of stuff, it's really easy because I can do it. Anyway.
If Brent can do it, anyone can.
That's right.
Also, you'll notice cleaning the costume. We recommend, if you're going to have the costume cleaned, take it to a dry cleaning facility, have them dry clean the costume. You can wipe off the center part of the shirt and the armbands. Most of the white parts on Chucky now are vinyl. If you have one of the original sets of characters, you might have white denim. That can be dry cleaned, but you can wipe the white vinyl off. It makes it really easy to take care of.
So, Brian, let's say you do look at your character and you see that his arm move takes him 4 seconds and on their show, and it takes 2 seconds on the video. What is a store tech to do?
Well, basically, the first thing you'd want to do is manually activate that movement by itself to verify it. Either get out your tech term, scroll through it, find the movement, activate it through there, or lift up the panels beneath Chucky's feet and actually manually activate the Mac valve itself. Once you've checked that out and you notice that it still has the same delay in it or the same length of movement, then what you can do is start double checking things like the flow restrictors. They're little color-coded plastic connector barbs inside Chucky, located almost next to each of the cylinders. And what they do is they restrict the flow of air coming in and out. You want to make sure those aren't crushed or pinched. There's no kinks in them. Also check the air hoses. If everything else seems okay, then more than likely the cylinder is failing or has a problem with it, or there's some other obstruction, whether clothing or something's jammed in the way. But always start with just the tech term or manually activating the Mac valve to check the movement.
So, Brian, if you do notice that a cylinder seems to be bad or going bad, you just take it apart and try to rebuild it?
Well, unlike the 3-stage shows out there, a lot of the older ones, the cylinders on Chucky on Studio C aren't really designed to be rebuilt. They're designed to be replaced. So what you need to do is, you have a cylinder that's going bad, contact tech support at the support center, and they can help you obtain the proper part to replace it.
I just love this move, head turn right. It's simply riveting. I'm sure you techs out there are overcome with joy in watching this particular move, the head turn right.
We also, if you notice on Chucky, especially on head up like this, his body wiggles a little bit when the movements go on him, and that's because he has a free-floating mechanism in his waist that kind of he's got independent suspension. That's an easy way to put it. What it does is it allows him a little more humanistic movement. So it's normal for him to shake. Like if you were to give the character a shake test, like we used to do for our classic shows, if the character shook and jittered a lot, then that was a bad sign. But on Studio C, it's acceptable in the body section. He kind of bobs around when you shake him, and that's normal for the character.
Unless it falls over or something, that's not good.
Yeah, that would not be good. Ah, yes, the mouth. The focal point of every show. If his lips aren't moving, they're not working. I had to do some reference to our first diagnostic.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Gratuitous reference to the first diagnostic.
You know, one thing to keep in mind when you're cleaning off Chucky's nose and mouth is you want to make sure that you don't use any harsh chemicals on there because it can remove the touch-up, the paints that they use to give him like rosy cheeks and the black nose and stuff. So use just mild soap and water to wipe off the silicone mask. That'll keep it clean and looking good for a long time. Oh, wow, the head tilts. Boy, we're making time now. Actually, we only have about 6 minutes left before this thing wraps itself up, so...
The longest 6 minutes of your life.
Okay, let's see. We still got to go through a couple of things. He's going to do his eyelids, his eyebrows. I don't think he does the eyelids. His ears. The famous foot tap. You know, for some reason... I just have this feeling that Brian and Brent are just really cool.
Really?
Yeah.
I was just having the same thought. I don't know if maybe there's something subliminal on this monitor that we're looking at, or maybe not so subliminal. Maybe it just said it, just written right across the screen. It could be. I don't know.
I don't know. I've got this just uncanny feeling. I want to get on a plane.
I feel good about myself now.
You know, I want to fly for some reason. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but... You can see that Chucky's surprised there.
Sorry, Chuck, didn't mean to scare you.
Oh, the nose. You know, you just wouldn't believe how complicated it is to program that piece of animation.
I think it's pretty easy, Brian.
Oh, do you? Mr. Negative Offset by 25.
Mr. Please don't make me do mouths again.
Yeah, I don't want to do the mouths again. Actually, to be honest with y'all out there, the most complicated part to program of these shows is the mouth. It takes the longest time.
That's about, at least for me anyway, that's like 20% of the whole show for me is just programming the mouth.
It is? Man, it's only about 2% for me.
Yeah, right.
5 hours later, I think I finished one skit.
Yeah, really. Yeah, speaking of time it takes to animate, Chucky, I don't really know for Studio C. I know that on the existing stage, just to give you an idea about time-wise, it takes approximately 4 to 5 hours for 1 minute of completed animation on the old 3-stage.
Yeah, it takes a while. Studio C we haven't really done a time study on yet, but it's fairly close because Chucky has equivalent movements of 2 characters, but he's much more complicated because of both of his arms being able to move identically, and you can make him look more like a person, so the expressions you can get are a little more creative, so it takes almost, I'd say probably about the same amount of time to get the show programmed as well. You know, and we can't do that without the help of everybody out there in the field taking care of their shows.
Yeah, and on a video like this, you know, we talk about maintenance and cleaning, but we also should mention that we realize that for the technical managers out there, for all the store techs, assistant techs, they have a lot of responsibilities. You all have a lot of responsibilities, and we can't really say enough how much we appreciate the hard work, the thought, the time that you guys spend out there in the stores, doing what you do, and we just appreciate everything you guys do.
Yeah, it's really great to know that we've got a lot of hardworking people out there. You know that, I mean, when the going gets tough, you know, they get going with it. You know, we're a growing organization. We're very busy all the time, and it's great to everybody to be on the same team, to work together to, you know, keep our mascot, which is the Chuck E. Cheese, you know, robot. He's our mascot on stage live all the time. You know, keep him in excellent condition. Everybody taking care of him, so that, you know, he promotes, you know, our company on such a high level. Hey, check it out! It's the bird. I can't wait for the wings to come up where they pop off the body.
Hopefully he won't fly away. Rock! You gotta love this music, Brian.
I know. Sounds like we're in an elevator.
Yeah. And we've got just about 2 more minutes left in your diagnostics. We hope this has been relatively painless.
Yeah, hopefully we've added a little amusement to this. Oh, there they go. Boom. I'm not sure if the birds out in the field there will pop like that on the first one, but they might. But hey, it's do they work? That's the main thing.
I would say if they pop off, then you probably have a problem.
Yeah, that would be a slight problem.
That would be one of the things. Yeah, going back to examples of problems, that would be a problem.
Yeah, that would be. Okay, time for the pizza phone here. I have this distinct urge to call and order pizza on the phone.
I don't know why you would have that urge. I can't
Symbolism,
imagine.
I don't know.
I can't imagine why that you would have that sudden urge.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the news capital of the planet, it's time for CEC News.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you call running out of music.
Yeah, we're getting a little creative, having to kind of stretch some of these things out here and pick some last-minute pieces.
Nothing like good old corporate industrial music.
We're at the curtain closes. This is the last part of the tape. We got about 5 of these from the point that the curtain starts opening. Notice it says 6-second travel. What that means is when you're actually diagnosing your curtains, from the point that the valve engages on your curtain system, it should take 6 seconds for it to travel to the other side. So when you're timing it, use that as your guideline. Actually, the time you hear the valve engage on your curtain system.
Brian, if that happens to be fast or slow, the curtains happen to be fast or slow, does that just require an adjustment, or does something probably need to be replaced?
It's just a simple adjustment. Normally, there is actually a screwdriver adjustment on each end of the cylinder. It's a vertical cylinder. It's about, I want to say about 7-8 feet high behind Chucky's stage, and you can adjust that on the bottom and the top for the opening and closing speeds. So adjust that first, and if you can't get the timing right, then there may be something wrong with the valve system or the flow control itself. All right, well, we're almost out of time here, but before we go, we want to let you know we have a surprise for you for sitting through this really boring, exciting diagnostic.
Going through it? Is that what you said?
No, I said viewing.
Oh.
We have some video clips from nationally broadcast TV shows, and we hope you'll enjoy them.
All right, well, if you're listening to this, you've decided to check out the lighting on your show. I'm Brent Gray, studio coordinator.
And I'm Brian Hagan, studio manager. Well, here we go with the amber floods on Chucky's stage. This lighting diagnostic covers all of the functions of Studio C, including the intelligent lighting, which is considered the fiber optic tubing on your ceiling, which are called robo-colors, and the robo-scan units. Those are the units, one mounted in front of Chucky's stage and one mounted in front of the blue screen stage that have moving mirrors on the light fixtures.
If you happen to notice lights going on, like for instance right now we have Chucky green floods, if your blue floods come on, then what you probably got is your wiring backwards.
One thing also to remember as we move forward, when the clock comes on, the hands on the clock move forward and backwards. It's kind of hard to see in the video, but they do move. So when it says on the screen, clock forward, clock backwards, it should move forwards and backwards respectively to the title on the screen.
Another thing you can check for now is to see if you have any bulbs burned out. So if you have a couple of Chucky red floods and only one comes on, then you probably have one burned out.
Yeah, everything on Chucky's ceiling is done in pairs, the red, the blue, the amber, and the green. Most of the other lighting, like the desk lighting, the lighting on the monitor surrounds, a lot of that is neon, so you have to check the transformers if there's something wrong, make sure the transformers are on and working properly. Pay close attention to the pizza phone here because it's kind of difficult to see in the store with all the lights on in the showroom. So just kind of be aware that there are small lights inside that.
Brian, did you choose this music?
Actually, I think you did.
Oh, our engineer Frank is really enjoying it. It is air guitar, and there's not even any guitar in the music.
You can tell we're grasping people here for something to talk about. This is kind of like resemblant of a kind of a director's commentary, if you will, like you see on a lot of movies nowadays. We thought this might be an entertaining way to break up the monotony of these diagnostic programs.
Yeah, we use the term director very loosely in this case.
Yes, extremely loose. One thing to notice about the Chucky spot there is it should not have a hard edge on it. It should be a soft edge all the way around, so it just kind of glows when it lights up on him. And that the bird spot should have a hard edge around the outside of the spot.
And a thing to maybe even look for is make sure that the spotlight's pointed or centered on the character. A lot of times they'll get bumped by this or that. Someone tossed something in the air and it gets bumped a little bit. Make sure it is centered on the character.
The warp fixture here is projected onto Chucky's stage, and it should change patterns as well as colors. The monitor neon that you're seeing now, the coloring is different from what is in the field due to the fact that Studio C in the corporate office studio is the original set. We have 3 colored neon. The neon in the field is multicolored, so notice that it says monitor, outer neon, middle neon, and inner neon.
I believe you can basically follow the description for that one. Isn't that right, Brian, for the ones that are in the field? The actual description is exactly what
Yes,
exactly
as long as you follow that description, you'll have the correct circuits going.
I believe on this light, Brian, isn't it true that if one of the bulbs goes out, then both will not work?
Yes, if one bulb does go out, then the whole fixture will not light up. It will still spin, but it will not light up. It's always best to replace those bulbs in pairs, because usually when one goes, the other one's not far behind and burning out. One thing to always keep in mind is always make sure that you replace a bulb with the exact style that it is when you get a new one, because to keep the show consistent, we always want to use the exact same replacement parts. You might notice our beautifully decorated tablecloth there in front of the interactive console. This is so you can tell the color of the room floods. The room floods actually should be positioned to where they cover the entire room with light. They shouldn't be all aimed directly at the stage. They should be positioned where some go down to tables, some go up on walls, so it's a nice, even, dispersed pattern throughout the room. You know, if you look real close into that center monitor, you can see me standing at the camera.
Big budget video production.
Ah, the live floods. No live show is complete without them. The RoboColor units that you see here, the fiber optic tubes, this is a automatic random mode, so your colors may not match this exactly, but as long as all the tubes come on and 2 of them, each pair starts lighting differently, then they're working accurately. Same thing goes for these RoboScans. We're actually taking an image of the floor here. The RoboScans will be projecting onto the tables in your showroom, moving around. This is just an example of the lights changing patterns and roaming around. Yours will automatically be different colors, different patterns. You just want to check, make sure that the mirrors are moving, the patterns are changing, and everything else, so that they work properly.
we're getting near the end here. We do appreciate all of you taking the time to check out your lights on your show. These house lights dim are going to go a couple times and we'll be through. We do have a couple of video clips, just like we had on the pneumatic portion of the Diagnostics. So we hope you enjoy them.
Thanks for taking the time to work on your show. We really appreciate it, and have a great day.